Start recording.
Good
Stop recording.
afternoon, ladies
Button.
and gentlemen. I hope everybody is doing well. Thomas and Nikki here. Nikki's on FaceTime, and we have something that we would like to talk about with you guys today, right now. The topic that we want to talk about is being grateful for things. Meaning, let's just say if somebody lets you borrow something, be grateful for that because they don't have to let you borrow anything. So Nikki had a situation with one of her neighbors that she's going to tell you about. And then we'll talk about this Nikki's going to tell you guys what happened with one of her neighbors. But what I want to say is that if somebody lets you borrow something, whatever it is, be grateful for that. First, let's find out how your time. You want to tell us how your time at Mike's was first, before we get into this?
Sure.
Okay.
My time at Mike's was wonderful.
Awesome.
His kid warmed up to me right away,
Right.
and we had a wonderful time.
That's awesome.
We walked to KFC for dinner last night, and then we hung out last night, and then we walked to Walgreens today, and I got us each a soda, and I got myself some cigarettes.
Nice.
And then we talked for a little while and hung out, and then I came home.
All right, cool. Glad you had a good time at Mike's house. All right, so let's get right into this. All right, go ahead. Tell us what happened.
So I lent my neighbor my vacuum after helping her move, mind you, which I did not have to do. Either thing. I did them both out of the kindness of my heart. And she tells me, your vacuum's not working. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, it worked for me the other day. She's like, do you have another vacuum? And I'm like, no, I don't. And she's like, really? Like, oh, I thought you'd have another vacuum.
Right.
And I was like, I'm sorry, I don't have another vacuum. This is the only vacuum I have. And she's like, oh.
Okay.
Kind of snotty
Right.
like she thought I should have another vacuum there at her disposal to use.
Right. Okay.
And then even before that, she was trying to find this tool to get her cable cord off the wall.
Right.
And they couldn't find anybody in the building that had one, or that was awake that had one.
Uh-huh.
So I called my mom out of the kindness of my heart and asked her if she had one.
Right.
And so John brought it over, being nice. And by the time I got it, she's like, oh, we already found one. We don't need yours.
Uh-huh. Wow. So the moral of the story here is she was very ungrateful and disrespectful. You know, Nikki gave her vacuum and a hammer and whatever else.
And nails.
And nails out of the kindness of her heart, And this woman was just
very disrespectful towards me.
And I told Nikki, I said, if I were you, I wouldn't associate with her anymore. But it's just very wrong and disrespectful. So we thought that we'd come on here and do it and talk about this on my channel and talk about it, that it's important to be grateful when someone lets you borrow something, no matter what it is. And yes, Nikki's vacuum was clogged, but that's not the point. The point is that Nikki let her neighbor borrow her vacuum out of the kindness of her heart.
Because it still worked for me when I used it the other day.
Yeah. And for those of you who don't know Nikki, she's one of the nicest people I've met online. And she's got a heart of gold. And she's an extremely nice person. And for this neighbor to do that was just, she was ungrateful, sounds like she was snotty, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep.
She sounds like she was snotty to Nikki and just disrespectful.
Oh, and then yesterday, when I was getting ready to go to Mike's, she asked me if I could help her move some more yesterday.
Right.
And I was like, I'm sorry, but I can't. I'm going to my fiance's house.
Right.
And she's like, oh, well, I was hoping you could help me move some more.
Mm-hmm. What she should have or could have said was, okay, no problem. Whenever you're free, just let me know. Or she could have said, well, when you're free, would you mind letting me know? And maybe you could help me move somewhere?
Right.
With a question. That would have been the question that she could have asked.
Now, if she would have said either of those, I would have said, I'll be back tomorrow, probably around lunchtime, and I'd be happy to help you then.
Right.
But no, she had to come off snotty.
Yeah, she doesn't sound like a very nice... I'm sorry, but she doesn't sound like a very nice person. I'm sorry to say that, but she doesn't seem like a very nice person.
So, of course, I'm not going to help someone that's being rude to me.
Right. Now, let me give you guys an example. Let's just say if Mike and Nikki lived here in Connecticut, close by to me. And let's just say if I'm going to use two examples. Let's just say if because Nikki knows how to install air conditioners in Windows. So if I said to her, hey, listen, you need to come over tomorrow and help me install my air conditioner. Would that sound nice? Of course not.
No.
But if I called her and I said, hey, when you have time, or if I called her and said, tomorrow, would you mind coming over and putting my air conditioner in my window? And if she said, sorry, I can't do it tomorrow, then I'd be like, okay, well, what about the next day if you have time? Or I would say, well, just let me know when you have time to come over and help me come over and put my air conditioner in my window.
Now, the second approach, I would definitely do it. The first approach, I'd be like, I don't think so, dude. You're being kind of rude.
Exactly. So I just gave you guys two examples. The second example is what you want, obviously, to do. So if I were to call her up and say, hey, listen, would you mind coming over tomorrow and putting in my air conditioner? And if she was busy the next day, then I'd be like, okay, no problem. Well, when you have time, let me know. And that would be great. So, yeah. So, the moral of the story here is you got to be respectful to your neighbors and your friends and your family. And if someone lets you borrow something, be grateful for that.
Yeah. Because people don't have to borrow out their stuff.
Nope.
I mean, after all, it is their belongings.
Right.
And if they are being nice enough to borrow it out, it's out of the kindness of their heart.
Right. Yep. Nice world. Now, last summer, I'll give you another example. Last summer, my uncle wanted to borrow my weed whacker, and he ended up having it for a week. And was I calling my aunt and uncle, asking them every 5 minutes, can you bring it back? Can you bring it back? Can you bring it? Of course not. I said to them, you can keep it for as long as you want to keep it for, because my uncle needed to do some weed whacking. My uncle doesn't have a weed whacker, so he needed to do some weed whacking. So my aunt and uncle borrowed my weed whacker for a week, and I was more than happy to let them borrow it. So the point of me telling you guys this is I did that out of the kindness of my heart, but I wasn't calling them every 5 minutes and saying, can you bring it back tomorrow? Can you bring it back the next day? I told my aunt, bring it back whenever he's done with it. So there you go. So, just be respectful to people. Otherwise, people are not going to want to do nice things for you and let you borrow stuff. You need to be thankful. It's important to be thankful if somebody lets you borrow something, whatever it is. So, question for you, my friend. What are you going to do about this neighbor? Are you going to not associate with her anymore when you get your stuff back, or what are you going to do?
Well, I think I'm going to go see if they're done with my hammer and nails.
Okay.
If they are, I'm going to get my hammer and nails back.
Okay.
And then I'm just going to not associate with them.
Did you get your vacuum back?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay. All right. Anything else you want to say about this, or?
Nope.
Okay. Now, speaking about being respectful, let's take a visit down memory lane. Last summer, and you guys can listen to this video or watch this video or listen to this video or both, watching or listen or watch. Me and Nikki did a video last summer about one of her neighbors staying over with her for 3 days. I don't know what I don't know what the video is called, but anyway, I think it's called "Be Respectful One's House in Space," I think, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, in that video, her neighbor did not respect her space, and I'm talking about this video that we did because we're talking about being respectful. So this neighbor, it was a neighbor, right?
Yeah.
This neighbor.
Well, it was a neighbor's sister.
Right. This woman, out of the kindness of Nikki's heart, Nikki let this person stay at her house for 3 nights, right?
Yeah.
And Nikki even let her sleep in her bed because the woman had a bad back, right?
Yep.
And Nikki slept on the couch. And she messed with some of Nikki's stuff in Nikki's house. And the point is that this woman did not respect Nikki's house and space. So that's another thing I want to say. If you stay at someone's house, respect their house. So not only respect people, but respect their belongings and their house and their space and their boundaries.
Yeah.
So this woman stayed at Nikki's house. She did not respect Nikki's belongings, touched things that she shouldn't have touched. And you can go watch the video. It's called "Respect One's House in Space." And she just wasn't respectful of Nikki's belongings.
Right.
And she touched some of Nikki's things without Nikki.
My air conditioner, for example.
Yeah, she touched some of Nikki.
That made me so mad.
She touched some of Nikki's things without asking Nikki's permission. So the point is, she did not respect Nikki's house or her space. So the moral of the story is, you guys, just be respectful of
Yes, please.
of people. And if someone lets you borrow something, be thankful. to that person and be respectful to that person.
5 notifications. Nice world. Grouped.
All right.
5 minutes.
Anything else you want to say?
Nope, I'm good.
All right, so we'll see you guys tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central. I'm really glad you had a good time at Mike's house. That's awesome. And oh, by the way, before we go, would you mind explaining to people what Mike's kitty looks like?
Oh, he's super cute. He has like gray on his back, and then he has like a little white strip between his back and his shoulders,
Right,
and then he has a little white strip going up between his shoulders,
right.
and he has like a little gray patch on each of his shoulders, and then his head is, and then he has a little white line again
Yeah,
around his neck,
right.
and then his head is gray.
Aw, he sounds cute.
He's adorable.
Nice. Cool. And as of right now, unfortunately, Mike can't go to Nikki's house for right now, because of the
COVID-19.
because of COVID-19. However, Nikki can go to Mike's house,
Yes.
because as of right now, her mom doesn't want him going to her house due to COVID-19. Right?
Yeah, his mom doesn't want him coming over to my house right now.
Right. So for right now, he can't go to her house, but she can go to his house.
Right.
So I'm glad you had a good time, and
Thank you.
yep. And we're not going to do the subscriptions right now because we're going to do them tonight.
Nope.
So we'll see you guys
I'm
tonight.
gonna go see about the hammer and nails.
Okay. Did you want to plug in your iPod so it doesn't die?
Ooh, yeah. I didn't realize it was that low.
I didn't know it was low. I was just asking if you wanted to plug it in so it doesn't die. Did you plug your iPod in?
Yes, I did.
Cool. All right, guys. So we'll see you tonight, and y'all take care and God bless.